Hello and welcome to Scientifically Speaking. Today on screen we have another confirmation of everything I said that God gave to me about all energy travel in 2014 for 3 weeks, day and night, didn't sleep for 9 days. And ever since 2014, all I've ever written about, or 9% of what I've written about, is energy movement of a vortex to a rollover wave, like that, to a double helix ring wave, to a double helix rollover halo wave, which comes around and joins at the center. Some people have tried to say that this is an impact wave, which of course it is, but plants are grown in the same manner. Every stem is a double helix vortex. But instead of like an impact wave, like a bullet hitting a wall and shattering sideways, that's when a force has met a matter barrier greater than itself. A plant growing is exactly the same formula. It is a double helix vortex which splits into two waves, which are the two leaves. And this happens when it hits an energy barrier greater than itself, because what's coming out of the ground through the plant is electrical. And when it meets magnetism, which runs this way, which is also the cross of God, when it meets this, the electricity and the magnetism and the matter pull the wave down, the magnetism wave down and into the plant. So once it goes and follows the leaves into the plant, this now allows the electrical bolts to pass through the magnetic barrier, and then it will carry on, and then it will hit another magnetic barrier. It will split sideways into two more leaves, and then the magnetism of the planet will join the plant, and then the plant can go through. This is exactly the same as water flow through Tesla's fluid diode, which I've shown many pictures of. So I've shown it in the quantum realm as well. I have several videos. I've just brought up three, one from 2014, one from 2010. Sorry, not 2010. Oh, we'll get to it. The first one's from 2014. First on screen is quantum tornadoes in momentum space. First experimental proof of a new quantum phenomena, which of course is what I've been explaining since 2014, because God showed it to me in visions. And basically I contained the small scroll that was to be opened in the end times, and it explains how God does everything, and that the energy flow of electricity to magnetism and then electricity is the cross of God, and it's the flow of energy through everything, because matter is useless. Matter has no intrinsic energy of its own, because God is an energy being who gives life to lifeless matter. So quantum tornadoes. This is everything I've been talking about, of vortex to wave, vortex to wave. And they've just discovered it again. But it's what I said God gave me. So that's what's on the 1,000 videos preceding this, or at least 800. Some of them are just videos about other people that shouldn't be mentioned anymore. So researchers from Wurzburg have experimentally demonstrated a quantum tornado for the first time by refining an established method. In the quantum semi-metal tantalum arsenide, electrons in momentum space behave like a swirling vortex. This quantum phenomenon was first predicted 8 years ago by a Dr. Dresden-based founding member of the Cluster of Excellence. I've been talking about this for the last 13 years now. 11 years? 11 years. And everything from the quantum level down and up, as I explained in my testimony video, where I stated that I went into an atom for 3 days visually, and it's just vortices all the way down. Doesn't matter where you look, it's just vortex after vortex. So the discovery, a collaborative effort between CT QMOT, the research network of universities of Wurzburg and Dresden, and international partners, has now been published in Physical Review X. Scientists have long known that electrons can form vortices in quantum materials. What's new is the proof that these tiny particles create tornado-like structures in momentum space, a finding that has now been confirmed experimentally. So this was everything I was predicting they would find at all levels of reality. And I said, vortex to wave can be seen in all reality at different perspectives of reality, from water circling down a drain to plant growth to sun flares to black holes to sun surfaces. Demonstrating this quantum phenomenon marks a major milestone in quantum materials research. The team hopes that the vortex-like behavior of electrons in momentum space could pave the way for new quantum technologies such as orbitronics, which could use electrons' orbital torque to transmit information and electronic components instead of relying on electric charge, potentially slashing energy losses. So they're relying on an electric charge, which is what I said is the vertical component, and the magnetic is horizontal. Funny that they would bring up electrical. Momentum space versus position space. Momentum space is a fundamental concept in physics that describes electron motion in terms of energy and direction. Rather than their exact physical position, position space, its counterpart, is the realm where familiar phenomena like water vortices or hurricanes occur. Until now, even quantum vortices in materials had only been observed in position space. A few years ago, another research team made waves worldwide when they captured the first ever three-dimensional image of a vortex-like magnetic field in a quantum materials position space. 8 years ago, Roderick Mosener theorized that a quantum tornado could also form in momentum space. At the time, the Dresden-based co-founder described the phenomenon as a smoke ring. And that's exactly what I've said about energy travel. It goes from a double helix vortex. All the streamers come out once it hits an energy or matter barrier, like a smoke ring. The matter barrier is the air, and then it performs a rollover halo wave, which is what a smoke ring is. And this is how I've described how all life is created by energy, and matter must conform to energy because the spirit is greater than the matter. So the co-founder described the phenomenon as a smoke ring because, like smoke rings, it consists of vortices. Yeah, two of them traveling in two different directions. That's why it's called a double helix rollover halo wave. However, until now, no one knew how to measure them. I've got no idea how to measure them. I've just shown it in everything. The breakthrough experiments revealed that the quantum vortex is created by orbital angular momentum, electrons' circular motion around atomic nuclei. When we first saw signs that the predicted quantum vortices actually existed and could be measured, we immediately reached out to our Dresden colleague and launched a joint project. Quantum tornado discovered by refining a standard method. To detect the quantum tornado in momentum space, the Wurzburg team enhanced a well-known technique called ARPS, Angle Resolved Photo Emission Spectroscopy. ARPS is a fundamental tool in experimental solid-state physics. It involves shining light on a material sample, extracting electrons, and measuring their energy and exit angle. Now, I also said that the electron travels between energy levels via a vortex. I've made videos about it 10 years ago. So measure the energy and exit angle. This gives us a direct look at a material's electronic structure in momentum space, explains Unzelman. By cleverly adapting this method, we are able to measure angular momentum, orbital angular momentum. I've been working on this approach since my dissertation. ARPS is rooted in the photoelectric effect, first described by Albert Einstein, taught in schools. Now, so we'll just go to this first video of mine. Called Sun Filaments, a Halo Prediction Confirmed. There is a picture of what I'm doing here. So, but I just want to get to the explanation. So let's have a listen.
What I'm talking about with energy is absolutely correct. Going back to my picture, you will see the filament there has little pieces sticking down as it goes over. These are tornadoes because that's how energy travels from one field band to the next one down. It forms a tornado, a funnel, because that's how energy travels. So again, confirmation of prediction.
These are tornadoes. So you get them on the sun, you get them on Earth, you also get them on an atom. That's what electrons do. It's how they have to move in a Fibonacci spiral, which again is on 20-30 videos. So there's me talking about tornadoes on my video from 10 years ago. Then we have double helix energy flow leaf formation, which is where if you take a leaf, when it first comes out, if you examine it, you will see it has two sides on 90% of leaves. Excuse me. On every leaf that's formed, there are two sides, a right-hand rotation and a left-hand rotation. So I took a large leaf and I rolled it back up, and you can see the double helix formation and the Fibonacci spirals of all the veins that run through the leaf, which is pretty much what this is. So all the leaves start with the leaf stem. It is a double helix contained in one tube, which is the stem. That is the leaf stem. Then due to a voltage change, as it hits an energy barrier greater than itself, it splits into two singles, one on each side. So imagine a spring bent over and rolled together, as all leaves start as two rolled up spirals. Go check any normal leaf. The crossover loop at the top of the spring takes one twist and becomes a point, then runs back down to the other helix, as shown of what I've done there. And everything rotates in a Fibonacci sequence, and that's how they look when they're that big. So it is the energy moving the matter. The energy is creating a shape, and I've said this before, that DNA code has the information. Electricity is what displays the information as a magnetic field, like your hand. So every point of this is a different electrical energy level, which activates a different part of the code electrically, and so each different part is given a different magnetic field, which eventually becomes a hand or a body. I mean, we look like this relatively from that sort of size. So it's the DNA that is read by electricity or activated by electricity and then displayed as a magnetic field. And then because it's an electromagnetic field, the electricity in it attracts matter, which then forms the shape of everything, because matter conforms to energy. We take matter and we turn it into something. Matter just doesn't spontaneously do that. Energy attracts matter. Matter covers energy. Energy moves matter, and your body is the prime example. And what else we got here? And then theory confirmed in the quantum realm. I'll let this run, but it's basically going to show how energy must travel from one level to another, but in a quantum computer. I've said it's vortex to Ouroboros field and back to vortex, and you have to funnel it in. So we're going to look at what they did to make a energy move across a quantum board.
Expert in taking this kind of challenging problem and interpreting the underlying physics, which allowed us to further improve the system. It's normally difficult to send quantum information for more than a few microns, said Whitley. That's the width of a single strand of spider silk. This technique could extend control across an entire chip or wafer. So this invention system is trying to move quantum information. They can only send it the width of a single strand of spider silk so far. So they have to make something that will make it move further. This would be the shape that I've been referring to for the past 5 years of how energy transfers from one place to another.
So this is from 6 years ago, which at the time I said I knew this 5 years ago, which make that the 11 years that I've known how energy travels, because God gave it to me in visions. For 3 weeks, day and night, didn't sleep for 9 days.
Now this is what I showed the other day when explaining how Tesla's fluid diode works. It comes in a vortex, spins through, creates an Ouroboros field of water in the outside, which accelerates the center.
On the left there is smoke travel, which is exactly the same as Tesla's fluid diode.
A power of 3. Basically, it's an energy holding station, which is also an acceleration point. It was quite easy to understand. It's Tesla's fluid diode. Things can't backflow because there's a constant rotation when the main beam of energy or water stops. So there's more energy in the Ouroboros times 2 than there is in the main beam 1. So you can fit 2 pieces of energy in the Ouroboros while there's only actually 1 in the beam. This is where I showed it as a waveform coming from the sun, the top one.
So there we have the wave to Ouroboros field to the wave.
So you have an impulsion V to an Ouroboros to an expulsion A, another vortex. Two vortices with a double helix wave in the center and a vortex coming out.
And there we go.
And so this is what they made. The results gave us new ways to control our systems and opens avenues of research and technology applications such as quantum sensing, said postdoctoral researcher Gary Wolowitz, the other co-first author of the study. The discovery is another from the University of Chicago's world-leading program in quantum information science and engineering. Shalom is currently leading a project to build a quantum teleportation network between Argonne and Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory to test principles for a potential unhackable communication system. So that picture is an acoustic chip is used to generate and control sound waves.
Which of course are energy produced by matter.
So that picture is this one. So as you can see...
So that's me saying that everything is from a vortex to an Ouroboros field and then back to a vortex. And if we go back to this, well, if that doesn't look like that, I don't know. And then, well, we got the double helix leaf, and then of course we have this vortex arrangement. So what will happen to this vortex eventually, if it meets an energy barrier greater than itself, is it will roll over and create an Ouroboros field. You might know it as a donut, but it's not a donut because it's a halo wave, because it has two sides that come around and meet one. This also again goes from the energy that will come out of the Holy Ones' heads that makes them look like they've got a halo, because it will come out of the top of your crown here, because you have two energy beams. Most people have one swirl. Certain people have two swirls, because energy is double helix and so is your brain, which is why you've got left and right hand sides. So I have two swirls on the back of my head. That is where energy is coming out. And so that is why it would form a halo around you. And all these things that you think about heaven of crowns, this is energy coming out of somebody's head. And all the jewels that you see in them are a vortex where two have met. And they've done that and come out that way, and they produce what we're going to see as jewels within a crown, which is in fact a spiritual crown and spiritual strength. Thanks very much. My name is Lee. I follow the Christ, and vortex to wave to vortex is in every form of life, because matter must conform to energy. Thanks a lot. Bye.